just a very quick recap of what we have covered last week. So in verse number 39, if you go to page 274, there's one thing that Krishna says. He says that so far I have taught you about your eternal self, your highest truth, the Atma, which you are. Now I'm going to start teaching you Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga. We've seen Buddhi Yoga is when we act, bringing the intellect into the picture. So now I will teach you Karma Yoga. And a very important thing he says over there, the last line, you will free yourself from the bondage of karma. What does it mean by freeing ourselves from the bondage of karma? Then we go to verse number 40. Another important thing that he says, 2-3 important things he says over here. He says, on the path of karma, Karma Yoga, even if you don't finish, this question comes again in chapter 6. So keep this answer in mind, what Krishna is saying over here. Even if you don't finish that whole path, and what is the path for Karma Yoga? Can you please tell me what is the ultimate goal for Karma Yoga? So far we've studied, why are we doing Karma Yoga? What is the ultimate goal?
Jnana Yoga, prepare for Jnana Yoga.
Yeah, but what is the final destination?
Moksha. Moksha, of course.
Thank you. Self-realization. So what he's saying, when you start walking on the path of Karma Yoga, even if moksha is not attained, it is not wasted. Whatever you do in this life, even if you're doing for a little while and you fall off, it is not wasted. Whenever you pick up. Now, suppose if you study Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 and you leave Gita for a while, you get overwhelmed with classes, with other life and all that, you leave Gita for a while, it's fine. Whenever you are ready and you come back to chapter 3, chapter 2 is not wasted. That is basically what he's saying. So one, he says, is that it's never wasted. And second thing he says, there's no adverse results to it. If you are following the path of Karma Yoga, nothing bad is going to happen. You can't overdo it. You can't underdo it. Whatever you do is sacred ground that you have traveled. Okay. And there again, he says one important thing, last line on that page, if you see, even practicing a little of this dharma, Karma Yoga, protects one from great fear. Please remember, the greatest fear, as we discussed, is the fear of death. We have understood fear of death is not immediate necessarily for most of us. Maybe nobody in our family is at that brink, or nobody, we ourselves are not at that brink, but we've understood it can happen anytime. We don't know. But what fear we are more grappling with is fear of change. Death for us means change. Anything changing in our life, a relationship changing, a job status changing, your fame, your fortune, your family status changing, whatever. So change is death. When there is a change, something dies and something replaces it, correct? So he says, when you are going on the path of Karma Yoga, it will protect you from this greatest fear. You'll stop fearing change. Most of our aggression is coming from our inability to deal with change. Okay. And why will we not be afraid of change anymore? Very simply, obviously, we have to study it for years to understand it. Very simply, is we understand, in essence, we are not part of that change at all. In essence, we are the eternal Atma. So when we travel enough to come back to that eternal Atma, more and more we will start seeing, okay, this is what it is right now. It is going to change. I don't have to let it overwhelm me. I don't have to be afraid. Okay, so that was verse number 40. Hopefully you all will get the recordings. Please read the book. If there is any questions, do ask in the question and answer chat, because it's not enough time in a class to cover everything. Also, 287, the Swami Vivekananda's reflections, it's worth reading his idea on Karma Yoga. I mean, his exposition on Karma. In fact, his whole book on Karma Yoga is phenomenal to read, but that's a nice excerpt we put over there. So please see that you read it. Don't miss that. Now we'll continue on from Shloka 41. I'm reading the translation on 289. In the pursuit of liberation, moksha, as you are rightly identified as the final goal, O Arjuna, descendant of the Kurus, Kuru Nandana, there is one clear and resolute understanding, but the thoughts of those who lack discernment, abhayavasainam, scattered, branching out endlessly. This is what it literally means. Now, obviously, when you read this, you cannot understand. As Amisha said, it's hard to comprehend what is being said. So first and foremost, let's take it step by step. I have said repeatedly, please pay attention to what words are being taken up to address each other in this entire conversation. The Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and mortal Arjuna, a warrior stuck in a rut. Here, Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Kuru Nandana. One definition is descendant of the Kurus, but many commentators say joy of the Kuru dynasty. So just in that addressing, can you see in one word, he's trying to remind Arjuna of his lineage. He's trying to remind Arjuna he belongs to the Kuru dynasty. He reminds him of his Swadharma and also current dharma. What is his current dharma? Please understand, it is protection of his kingdom. It is to re-establish righteousness for all the people who belong to his kingdom. And also a personal reason there to get justice for his own family, Mata Kunti, Draupadi. So in one word, Krishna reminding him of who he is something that we have to keep in mind whenever we find ourselves stuck in a rut. To immediately see, who am I? What is my Swadharma? Generally, who am I? What are my current duties? And quickly begin to align them all to act correctly by the tenets of Karma Yoga. This happens. How does it happen? As you study, as you observe, you are able to quickly align those things together. This is who am I? Who you are also entails your values, your whatever else that you hold dear in your life, plus what has to be done, whether you like it or not, what has to be done. So in that one word, Kuru Nandana, joy of the Kurus, descendant of the Kurus, he's brought Arjuna to that reminder again. This is what you have to do. Now, please understand that to attain anything in this world, you need a goal first, correct? Materially, if you want to attain something, you need a goal. Suppose if you're saying, I'm doing a job, I'm doing 2 jobs, I'm doing investments on the side, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why are you doing that? What is your goal in that? I'm throwing it out. Your goal is to buy a good house, correct? So that goal has to be established firmly in place, first and foremost. After that goal is established, whatever we say karma is from thoughts, words, and deeds. Whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever you do has to come together toward that particular goal. Do you understand? So generally, you will see if you're a very determined and very focused person with very clear practical goals in life, you will have that vyavasayatmika buddhi. You will have that. You will have that single pointed focus. Ki look, whatever I'm doing in my life, even when I'm having fun, it will be curtailed to the point that I am fulfilling, walking towards this goal. That fulfillment might take a little bit of a time. But you need that centered mind, you need that centered intellect to walk towards that goal. Otherwise, what happens? The mind is going to pull you in different directions. One day you're doing this, one day you're doing that, one day you're doing that. That is why you see people who struggle to achieve what they want in life are, what is that famous line that says, Jack of all trades, master of none. Have you heard that statement before? That you're doing many different things, but what is your goal? There's a very cute woodpecker story on this. I will send it in the voice note. Okay, please listen to it. You will not achieve. Now, this is for the material goals of life. You see an Olympic runner. Okay, let the Olympic runner be there. My daughter was a varsity athlete in school, in Singapore American School over here. And she was the captain. And while she was doing international, national competitions, running competitions, in that period when those races were on, it was completely that centered focus. So what she ate, what time she slept, what time she's not like that usually. She's not a disciplined person at all. But for that time when she was captain and she had to win for the school, for that period, everything, literally everything, who she spoke to, who she hung out with, how she led her life, what her timetable was so immaculate. She was the only fresher to medal at an international varsity competition. If you don't do that, you will not. Olympic medalists also, when PT Usha, right, a very great runner from India. If you listen to one of her interviews, I'll try and find it and send it to you. She said, boiled food for ages. But that everything, how I slept, how I ate, everything was going towards that. So you need that for your material goals. Now, in this particular context, why do we keep bringing the material goals? Because many of us will say we are not interested in self-realization. What do we do with our life right now? So material goals are also valid. Please don't chuck any of them away. But what we are talking about and what we are trying to study through the Gita is self-realization, moksha. Once you become a Gita student, please understand your ultimate goal, which is a prerequisite for any success in life, has to be self-realization. Let me assure you, you have not come to the Bhagavad Gita as sincerely as you have right now. If through many lifetimes you have not already been there, done that, experienced the good, experienced the bad, experienced the ugly, experienced the indifference, different, you wouldn't have come as sincerely. You may say in this life, no, 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 I'm not done. I've got so much more to do. I have to experience this, I have to experience that. Like Amisha said in one of her questions, that I would love to come back and experience more. We feel that in this life, but your contact with the Bhagavad Gita will start revealing to you, you've been there, done that. Okay. So now for this particular verse, we say our final goal is self realization. For self realization, you have to see how much effort you have to put in. For regular goals like Olympic medals and all, also, you have to literally sacrifice everything on the side and attain that. Now, self realization, which is such an abstract concept right now, it's going to need a lot of dedication from you. Does that mean you stop your entire life? No, we are all in grahastha ashramas. Most of us, some of us are not even in vanaprastha right now, where we're done with our family duties per se, you know. But wherever you are right now, this 1 hour, why do I insist on doing that opening, breathing, whatever we do, however basic it might feel? For this 1 hour, if you can bring that mind, that intellect, that body to be present over here, that is your own contribution, not to the class. It is your contribution to yourself. I have contributed here fully 1 hour. I don't have more than an hour. Even if you're not in the class, suppose if you say every day I want to study 30 minutes Bhagavad Gita, for that 30 minutes, breathe, come to that point. Without that, you are not going to be able to achieve. Otherwise, think, you say meditation, you sit for meditation. Without any preparation, you sit and start Om, Om, Om. By the 7th or 8th Om, you are thinking of home. Om has gone flying out of the window, right or wrong. Even now, the mind wanders. I'm speaking, but your mind is wandering here. What happened in the day? What happened in the night? We have to practice bringing ourselves. Swami Chinmayananda used to say, bring your mind to where your hands are working and try that with little things. That is how we develop Vyavasaya, this particular buddhi. We develop this. The integrated mind we develop through practice. Right now we have to cook. For that cooking, can we do it? Focus fully there. When we are talking to somebody, the worst, when we go out to eat, it's such a sorry sight to observe. We are all sitting as a family, everybody's on the phone. Why even go out? Just grab, order whatever you want at home and be on your phone, right? So whatever situation we are in, to try and see if we can bring that integrated mind, body, mind, speech, and intellect to one point and focus over there. So this is what he's saying. For such a person who's able to integrate and bring to that point, self-realization is not a hard thing. It will happen. And even if self-realization doesn't happen, this detaching from fear, this detaching from karma will happen. But you have to have that integrated focus. You just have to have it. And we can't do it until we do it with our daily routine. See, what is the definition of knowledge? You start from what you know to what you don't know. Right now, self-realization is out there, pitched up. But what you do know is your daily life. Think how scattered you are. And also what he says is that for a scattered mind, the minute they try to do something, the mind is saying, no, 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 do this. No, 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 do that. Swami Chinmayananda brings in a psychological concept which says self-cancellation of thoughts. We are self-cancelling our thoughts, We have decided we will wake up early and exercise. Now for that, you're from the previous night, you have to bring yourself to that point of achieving that goal. What do we do in the night? Self-cancellation of thoughts. No, 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 I'll scroll for a little while. I'll chit-chat rubbish. I'll just watch some movie. Gone. If you're sleeping at 12, 1, 2, it's not possible for you to wake up in the morning. So things like that. You have to bring yourself to that point. Now, the question over here is, why do I want self-realization? This is an important thing. Why the mind is pulling you in all directions, very important to understand. What the Bhagavad Gita says, what Vedanta says, what you innately know is that your Atma, now you know this from the books as well, your Atma, yourself, your eternal self is complete. It is fulfilled. It needs nothing. It is just experience. It's just enlivening experiences over here. Through multiple lifetimes, we have separated from this true identity of ours. We have separated from Atma, that I am Atma, I am eternal, and become these many things till today, where now we are Radha, we are Purnima, we are Rohitji, we are Avanti. And we feel that incompleteness, that void very deeply, that something is missing, right or wrong? Are you always feeling that we need to acquire something? Why are you feeling that? You're feeling that because you are separated from who you are, what you are. And that thirst to complete yourself is basically a thirst to go back to this. Now, until you touch the Bhagavad Gita or any knowledge, after many lifetimes, you're on an outward journey into the world of experience. Okay. So you feel that incompleteness, which you will feel from detachment, is going to be fulfilled by the next relationship, by the next job, by the next vacation, by the next home. I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. And the mind will continue to embellish that thought within you that, you know what, this incompleteness that you're feeling can be fulfilled and can be fulfilled within the world. Now think to yourself, can it? Today, whatever ages we are, and I am at a ripe old age, can I sit and say, I'm done. I've experienced everything. I'm fine. Completeness is there. And for many people who enter the Vanaprastha and the Sannyasa ashram, or like post 50, post 70, whatever the age might be, I am noticing a peace in them when they are in touch with spirituality, any kind of spirituality. Because even if they've not attained that self realization, they've understood nothing in this world is going to complete me. And only buddhi can make you understand that. It's not scripture. It's not because Krishna is saying. You look at your own life and see, look, so many things you thought this is what will make me happy. You attained it. For how long were you happy? Another thing that we have to understand when he says the mind will pull you in different directions, the mind is the abode of desires. A desire does not come alone. A desire comes with kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, and bhaya. It produces babies. If your desire is not fulfilled, you will get angry, right or wrong. When you get angry, you're creating more karma, defying the verse that Krishna has just said that you will be free of bondage of karma. When you get angry, you are going to commit karma, commit wrong things. Krodha, bhaya, fear. Even if you have everything, most of us are just so caught up in what if this goes, what if this goes. Even our families, my God, nothing should happen to anybody. Bhaya, desire for the family. Some other things, matsarya, jealousy. You don't have something, you wanted something, you go and see somebody else having it. Again, jealousy. You're thinking wrong, you're speaking wrong, you're doing wrong. Again, you're attached to bondage. You understand? Another thing is mada, which is pride. You have a lot, so you look down on others. Oh, this one doesn't have anything, doesn't have the greatest house, doesn't have a good car, is not in the elite circle, is not educated, doesn't have a job. Again, you're thinking wrong, speaking wrong, doing wrong. So when we understand that desire is giving birth to all sorts of what they say shadaripus, vices within us that are going to make us do wrong things and attach us to karma badly, when buddhi yoga comes in, we start looking at desire. Another famous question that will come up, surely it will come up in this class. Then if you're saying that we should not desire only, should we just stop desiring? Should we not desire at all? We don't have that choice. We have come with desires. So we will desire. Karma yoga will teach us how to fulfill our desires without exasperating those desires, without multiplying those desires. We will end experience with experience, each experience with experience. We will unpack our bags, naki, repack, double, and go back. So that is another important thing to understand over here. Finally, there are 3 C's towards achieving anything in life. Now, you should keep this in mind for your material goals and you should keep this for your spiritual goals. First C is concentration. Okay. What we are trying to do. When we try to say, bring your mind, your attention to this. Right now, I'm studying this. Let me be with this. It takes a lot. We are in an age of multitasking. It's impossible to concentrate. So first, we learn to concentrate. We concentrate on the little things. One great tip that's working very well for a lot of in all the other classes is, they say japa is the greatest, especially in Kali Yuga, it's the greatest sadhana that you can do. Japa. It's hard to just meditate, close your eyes and meditate. So then even Swami Chinmayananda keeps saying japa. Krishna says, amongst all the spiritual practices, I am japa. In Vibhuti Yoga, he will say that. So what you can do to concentrate, if you are doing full-fledged japa, fantastic, and you're with it for 108 or whatever it is, superb, please carry on because that really integrates the mind to the moment. If you are not able to do it, this has to happen the 24 hours, 12 hours you're awake, at least 6 times a day. If you're not able to do 108, 6 times a day, pick any number from 2 to 9. between 10, 1 to 10. So 2 to 9. You can't do it once, you have to do it 2 to 10. Whatever is your favorite number, several times a day, just sit. Whatever japa you've picked up Ram, you've picked up Krishna, you've picked up Ma, whatever you've picked up, do it for that number of times. It doesn't take, you can even do it at work. It is working phenomenally because for that moment, you're able to bring that wayward mind to a point and say, sit and focus on this. If we don't practice like this, we are not going to be able to focus the mind. There are too many distractions. So suppose if you pick number 3, I'll do it 3 times. Several times a day, just come to your seat, breathe in and out 3 times. You can even leave your eyes open if you're in the office and chant that with full concentration. Ram, Ram, fully there. That is how you learn to concentrate. Try it. It will start bringing your mind to that integrated state slowly and steadily. And when you can master 3, you increase. When you move up to 108 and never leave that practice. Swami Chinmayananda, till his last day, he was doing japa. That's how you keep your mind in place. So first is concentration. Next is consistency. Okay. Now for your material goals and for your spiritual goals, please see that whatever you do now, whatever I'm thinking, the question you have to ask, I'm thinking this. Is it taking me closer to my goal? Let's just stick to the spiritual goal. Is it taking me to becoming a better human being? No, drop it. There's no need for you to engage. If it is, continue with it. What I'm thinking, what I'm saying, what I'm doing. Consistency. Everything that you do should be towards this. Now, suppose I'll give you a simple example. Suppose if you're a great socializer, social life is very huge on your calendar, and you've decided that I want spirituality also to become a part of my life. So where you are attending parties that are just gupshup, drinks and dinners, can you initiate get-togethers amongst your friends where you come to discuss something more spiritual, something more meaningful? Book clubs, doesn't have to be the scriptures, book clubs, whatever form of satsang, music, if you're into music, if you're into art, it could be exercise, something more spiritual. See, even exercise, music and all, it integrates, right? It brings you to a place rather than just gupshupping of all nonsense things. Every word that is said is creating karma. What are we talking about? To be able to be aware of that. So in the 10 parties that I do, the 10 social circles that I have, can I have one circle that is a very nice integrated badminton group, something like that? So consistency. I remember one of my friends said that when I started on the spiritual path, suppose if this is my life, spirituality was one piece in that whole jigsaw puzzle of my life. And now she's been in it for 20, 25 years. She's saying now spirituality is the centerpiece. Everything else fits around. Satsang ke bina, this is not possible. So see how you can incorporate it. So consistency, whatever you think, whatever you do, whatever you say, moves towards that goal. That is important. And then finally is cooperation. Cooperation within yourself. Like I said, your body should cooperate, your mind should cooperate, and your intellect should cooperate. Basically, the main thing that needs to be on board with cooperation is your mind. Your mind has to be devoted to the goal that your intellect is setting up. If your intellect is setting up the goal of understanding the Bhagavad Gita, your mind has to not feel lazy in the week. You have to dedicate some time where you are able to sit with an integrated mind and study that cooperation. That is internal cooperation and external cooperation. External cooperation from your family members will only come when they are seeing a dramatic difference in how you are conducting yourself. If you're beating them all up and then not literally, but if you're being completely bizarre, no change in character, and you're sitting with the Bhagavad Gita, they're going to curse the Bhagavad Gita and create more karma. They're trying not to create any more karma, right? So how you incorporate these teachings and see your first practice ground is your family and your workplace. They should see a difference. They should say, please, they should ask you, did you attend your class today? Please don't stop. You please attend because it's fantastic for us over here. So that is the external cooperation. That external cooperation for your betterment will only come when you are practicing the tenets of the Bhagavad Gita very, very sincerely. Now, when we move to the next verse, we have to understand something very important. Vyasa, who wrote the Bhagavad Gita, has basically written the Mahabharata. And he's also written the 4 Vedas. We all know the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharvana Veda. This is just technicalities, but it's good to know. So now all the Vedas are divided into 4 halves. The mantras, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, and the Upanishads. Very briefly, I'm defining. You can sit and study on your own. Why I'm brushing past it? Because you'll understand what's being said in the next 3 verses. So anyways, so what are the mantras? The mantras, loosely, are the lyrical chants that eulogize the beauty of nature. So many mantras and mantras and mantras are there in the Vedas. Then there are the Brahmanas. Now, this is what is going to be taken up in the next 3 verses, which have the injunctions for many rituals, rites and rituals that we perform. Okay. Then there is the Aryanas, which are the various methods of subjective worship. There's objective worship and there's subjective worship. And finally, the Upanishads is the sublime philosophical teachings of the Vedas. Now, please understand the Bhagavad Gita, when we see the refrain that comes at the end of each chapter, Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu, the Bhagavad Gita is revered, studied, taught, and practiced as an Upanishad. So it is the philosophical kernel of the entire Vedas. Now, at the time the Bhagavad Gita happened in the Mahabharata, the Karma Kanda portion was most active. So suppose if you even threw out the word Karma Yoga, it meant the rites and rituals that were performed. And at that time, all these rites and rituals were performed for, I want something in exchange. I need something in exchange for this. So they were massive. You've all heard of those havans and all. You've seen in Mahabharata and also those massive havans that were performed to get something in return. Go back to the verses we've just studied. Krishna is saying, we want to get rid of the bondage of karma. Now think, please pause to think, if we are performing religious activities to fulfill desires and breeding desires, are we separating ourselves from the karma or not? We are not. If you're really wise, which there are very few, you will say, okay, I'm going to do this havan, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to shut up. That's it. But most people are not. And remember, each thing that we do, everything that we perform will have a consequence, huge consequences. Now, to prove this, within the Mahabharata itself, there is a story. We won't get into the full story, or I'll send it in a voice note one of the days when I'm free. Drona and King Drupada had a fight. In that, Drupada was insulted. King Drupada was insulted. Now listen how Karma Kanda came into the picture of Mahabharata. He was insulted. So he does a massive yajna, a havan. What does he do the havan for? To produce a son who will take revenge on Dronacharya. Okay. While he was doing that havan, Drishtudumna came out, who was the commander of chief of the Pandava armies and also the one who ultimately kills Drona. Okay. So he did that entire havan to get this son. Now it's interesting, when he was doing that havan, only Drishtudumna didn't come out. Behind him came out this beautiful, dark complexioned damsel called Draupadi. Draupadi was born of the fire. And now think, put all the pieces together. Draupadi was that last straw on the camel's back that caused the Mahabharata war. If Draupadi had not caused the Mahabharata war, Drupada would have not had the ability to avenge whatever insult. You see? Gahana karmana gatihi. So when we say, why is this happening in my life? And something we must have taken up somewhere, and it's come with so many consequences that we did not want. Did Drupada want the Mahabharata war necessarily? He wanted to avenge Drona, right? So Karma Kanda was very huge at that point. Bhagavad Gita, when I look at it, when I study it personally, I feel it comes in at a time where the journey outward has become so delusional that now there is a push to turn inward and go back towards Atma. So when Bhagavad Gita comes in, Vyasa completely changes the whole meaning of karma. He says karma yoga is not something you do to fulfill your desires. Those desires get fulfilled. We'll see many, many promises. And forget in the Bhagavad Gita, from my own life, I'll tell you, there are many times when I wanted something, I didn't get it, I left it, I focused, and it came on its own, right? So what Vyasa is trying to do over here is that now all of Karma Yoga is meant not to fulfill desires, which we promise will be fulfilled anyways, is to first and foremost reduce desires. Because remember, I've sent in the voice notes also, Vasana's desires are what's standing between us and our God realization. It is to reduce desires, it is to purify desires, and it is to transcend desires altogether. Because we understand that there's nothing that Atma needs, and we are Atma. That's a long process right now. So we just understand it for now, is that why he brings in Karma Yoga, is that please now don't use religion to fulfill desires and get deeper and deeper into this game. Use religion to get back to your truth, get back to yourself. That is why every chapter in the Bhagavad Gita is termed yoga, right? Every single chapter in the Bhagavad Gita is termed yoga. Yoga means to reunite, as we saw in the last class. So whatever we do, whatever we say, whatever we feel has to bring us back to who we are. So now the next three verses, what Krishna does is he completely just, you would say, very sternly breaks down this nuisance of how religion is being used to fulfill desires. They all three basically mean the same things, and we'll take them up again next week for further depth. But let's just see what it's saying. So we've taken them together in the book as well, 42, 43, 44. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipashchitaha vedavadarataha pathaha nanya dastiti vadinaha kamatmana swargaparaha janma karma phalapradam kriya vishesha bahulam भोगैश्वर्य गतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्य प्रदस्प्रसक्तानाम. So what he's saying over here, please understand now, you'll get it correctly what was just discussed. Those who are full of desires, which most of us are, focused on heaven. Heaven is after. Like, I'm going to die over here and I'm going to go to heaven as the ultimate goal. Speak of many rituals that promise better births, the fruits of ritual, all aimed at attaining pleasure and power. That is verse number 43. Those attached to pleasure and power, with their minds carried away by these flowery words, lack the focused understanding, what we discussed before, vyavasayatmika buddhi, mental stability necessary for spiritual goals. Do you understand how it comes together over here? So what he's saying over here is that as long as your mind is full of desires, hundreds and thousands of desires, you will continue to use even spirituality to fulfill those desires. But desires are not something that will stay satiated. For people who are very much entangled in the world, they cannot be. It's like a tissue box. You pull one tissue, the next tissue is out. He calls it fire. You throw little ghee into the fire doesn't say, I'm satisfied. It flares higher. It wants more wood, more fire, more fuel. It wants that. So as long as we are using spirituality to fulfill desires, we are not going to be what he ends these three verses with. We'll take them up in depth next week as well. What he's saying is, as long as you're doing that, you will not be able to sit on the meditation cushion, let alone attain self-realization. Self-realizationness is desirelessness. Self-realization is thoughtlessness. Self-realization is no sankalpa left, no resolve, I want this, I'm going to do this. So it's going to take a while for us to get to that space of being completely without desires and without sankalpa. But what we can start doing, two things. Number one is stop using religion to fulfill your desires. When you go to pray, if you just can shift your prayer to, let what I deserve, also what I desire, come to me. But I'm praying so that I get to the truth of life itself, so that I stop desiring, because every desire is tormenting me. Can you please just bring me to that point where I understand who I am? Even when Arjuna falls on the chariot floor, what does Krishna say? He doesn't say, oh, this one is so dear and that one is so dear. The first instruction to Arjuna is that you're not even any of this. You are the eternal self. If you understand that, you will understand what is to be done over here. So our prayer, if we can just start shifting our prayer, never mind beti ki shadi, bete ka job, my own mortgage, never mind all of that. That will come to me as per prarabdha and as per my effort. It is going to come to you as per what karma you have and as per what effort you are putting in with all your mind. And this is a promise, not only of the Shastras, of any person who is successful in the world. Go and ask them. It comes. But what you are going to pray for now is, let me realize the truth of myself so that this binding hold of desire starts loosening its grip. That's number one. And second thing is, start questioning your desires. Please question the desires. My daughter getting married, how is it going to help me for the rest of my life? How can I be assured that that particular marriage is going to go well? That there's going to be is it going to bring more things? Is it going to bring more agitation? Are you understanding? Are you getting the drift? We are wishing, thinking that this will happen and we will be happy. Guess what? Krishna is saying that cannot be. There's a lot of other things that will come. Every rose that you go for your desire has many, many thorns. Are you ready for the thorns? So if we can just shift our prayers to, first of all, thank you. So far, you have brought me, and now you have brought this knowledge into my thing. First of all, thank you for my existence. And the second prayer, let me realize the truth so I don't get caught up in this. And then questioning each, whatever desire is tormenting you, please sit with a book and a pen. I've done this for decades. If this desire is fulfilled, what am I going to feel? And if you get into this space, trust me, that desire will be fulfilled. The more we chase, the more we lose it. That's why Swami Ramatirtha says the way to gain anything is to lose it. The secret of manifestation is to, yes, put your feeling into the universe. This is what I want. Let Akasha work it all out for you. If you're meant to get it, nothing in the world will stop you from getting it. If you're not meant to get it, you will bang your head on every wall. You will still not get it. And that is why in verse 47, when we get to it, Krishna will say, focus on the action. Put in your effort, let go of the result, continuously ask for right buddhi and ask to know the truth. None of this should be used for fulfilling desires. That is why I keep saying also, when we come to the Bhagavad Gita, if you're coming to, oh, Bhagavad Gita study is going to solve this problem for me, it may. How will it solve the problem? If you get the right buddhi to do the right things, and the problem will solve. But that is also not what we are asking for. What we are asking for is that let me slowly, through this problem and all the excitement of my life, become that which is not shaken by either, which he's already said 3 verses ago. Joy, sorrow, gain, loss, whatever, I remain steady. So karma yoga is not what you do. Please check whatever you're doing now. If you're opening charities, you're opening orphanages, you're going and feeding the poor people, you're studying the Bhagavad Gita, who am I becoming through this that I am doing? Because if you're going and opening a ashram so that you go to Swarga later, this is what Krishna has cancelled in this verse. They are unwise. He says in chapter 8, they will go to Brahmaloka, which is beautiful. Garuda Purana says that in the thing, that you go to heaven where it's so beautiful and, all of that. So he says you'll go there. But when that merit is done, you come back again over here. Please understand, would you be returning with an improved mind and intellect? That is what we have to focus on. We will look at these 3 verses a little bit more in depth next week as well. But for now, we will stop here.
Thank you, Avanti. That is like a comprehensive explanation of the Shloka 41. So we will just reconcile that Shloka, just add a few complementary thoughts. So Krishna presents like there are two way of our mind functioning. The first way is the mind is focused on the goal. The goals are clear. The main goal and the interim goals are very clear. That is one snapshot. The second snapshot is like, I don't have clarity. I am just doing anything and everything. So that's what like focused mind. The word vyavasaya means typically vyavasaya is translated as industry or entrepreneur mind. That is what the vyavasaya. So Krishna tells those who are high achievers in the life, their mind has a specific quality. What is that quality? It will be focused. Ekena. It is laser focused on their goal. It need not be the spiritual goal alone. You could see if you have laser focus in what you are doing, you could see high performance is coming out of that person. So that is what is highlighted. And on the other side, like if the mind is distracted, avyavasayina, bahushaka, one is like single pointed, the other one is multiple divergent. So imagine like a ray of light coming through a convex lens and a concave lens. When it comes through the convex lens, what is going to happen? It will focus on one area and even it can burn the paper. If you put a convex lens on a paper, it can burn. Why? Because it brings all the energy to one goal. Whereas on the other hand, what happens? The energy is distracted, diverted, and everything. So, what is the biggest? Because if you really think about the context of this shloka, connecting to the previous shloka, Krishna is talking about the advantage of karma yoga. Remember, he said, Buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. I'm going to teach you the karma yoga. And then he said, the karma yoga, there is no loss. There is no problem on the sequencing. There is no problem on completing the work. Whatever you do, you get that much benefit. That is the beauty of karma yoga. And that karma yoga is going to give you this focused mindset. and a focused mindset. And second thing is that it helps you to set your goal on the highest. Right now, for any human being, what is the goal? The first goal is security. Obviously, I need to have the job, money, and everything. And once it is done, like you go to some pleasure activities. If you really think about the Maslow's hierarchy, you see that, right? First one is the security. Then you have little bit of happiness. And then, if time permits, you go to the other one. Here, the Krishna sets the goal to the highest. What is that highest goal? Moksha. When the moksha is the highest goal, are you dropping your materialistic goal? Not at all. That goal will be there. So you will be able to work towards the interim goals without losing focus on that main goal. That is the path of Karma Yoga. So the Karma Yoga is a path which can assure both material success as well as the spiritual progress. Because the goal is always given on the moksha, but you will be able to fulfill the interim goals without any problem. In our book, we gave a beautiful example. Somebody is taking a flight from like from India to New York. So there is a layover in Dubai one day. So during that day, this traveler can go and enjoy all the shopping. But if he forgets that final destination of New York, his mission is not accomplished. That is exactly what happens. When we see this artha and kama, the securities and pleasure, we always forget that final destination. And what Krishna is saying is that you can pursue this artha and kama, which is aligned with that larger goal. So the Bhagavad Gita is not saying that you drop your material goal. Bhagavad Gita is lifting your goal to a higher level so that everything can be pursued at the same time. So this shloka, if I summarize this shloka, it is telling me that one of the greatest benefit of following the Karma Yoga is you will learn the art of focusing the mind. And when you learn the art of focusing the mind, what is going to happen? Success is guaranteed. And you will have a clarity on your main goal and the subsidiary goals, and you will be able to pursue the subsidiary goal without losing focus on the main. This is the essence of this show. So with that, we can pause and take any questions or comments.
So I have a comment. So I'm reading a book. I just finished reading a book. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. It's an old book. It's very interesting how that guy's goal, the purpose is to publish the paper, the piece of paper, and he goes through the concentration camp. Oh my God, how he's able to still keep the goal in the head and pursue whatever he needs to do and follows, just like you said, 3 C's: consistency, concentration. He's so much focus on it. It's very interesting. It was very interesting. Learned a lot from the book.
Can you put the name of that book and the author in the chat, Radhaji? Because
Okay.
everybody should read it. It's a phenomenal read. And then you will understand what is.
Yes, yes. I had to read it twice, because it's very rough when you read it in the beginning. But then later, when you keep thinking, and I'm connecting Bhagavad Gita, actually, I wrote a lot about it. We have a book club we follow, so we do good books. So this was one of the old books we decided to go through. It was very nice to put things together. So
First of all,
thanks.
congratulations. And I think you'd see the statistics right now, right? Like every year, the reading habit is exponentially coming down. So kudos to you for keeping that reading habits and following the book club, because this is how your brain will be enriched.
Yes.
This is how your imaginations will be created, not by watching the reels.
I also read another. We've been reading every month one book. One of the other books, which again I was reminded in your classes, is like everybody gets a package in their house. Nobody knows who sends it, but inside the package there's a long thread and a short thread. Long thread means you're going to live longer. Short thread means you're going to live shorter. And how people are puzzled. They want to do all good things because they're going to die. And how people go through. And then one of them is ready to exchange for a long thread. Give his friend a long thread because he wants his friend to be more alive than himself. But it's very interesting. It's such a good book, that one too, Those are interesting. You learn a lot, how people think.
Congratulations on your book club. This is exactly what we were saying in the class, is that now start finding things that are bringing you closer to the truth. To be able to relate Bhagavad Gita to man's search. Phenomenal. Salute you. I really salute you. And that is how the Gita teachings will start making sense. If you just leave it to this class, it's not going to embed. And whoever, if it's still open, if anybody wants to join that book club, I would highly encourage, because it's such a great thing you're doing.
They don't want to take any more. We are 12 of us, because it's coming to a point like everybody has so much to say. We want to give. In fact, we have a timer, not more than 15 minutes. If you have more points, you can send it out. Oh my God. All these women, everybody's women, and they're doing phenomenally good. We love it. We love it. More people want to join. We said no, because then it becomes hodgepodge.
Those
See,
who
you know
want to
what,
create one,
Swami
you can
Chinna-
create here also. Yeah.
What Swami, I was just about to say that we, Project Self is really looking to diversify. And I did put this out to Rajesh ji a long time ago, that I'm very, very interested in starting an all women's group. I think it's going to fly. So that we are still working on. We're just still trying to get it together. But another thing is, see, when Swami Chinmananda used to teach, right, he used to bring the Bhagavad Gita, he used to teach it. And what he started was study groups. Okay. In those study groups, there was no teacher who was teaching. It was a discussion, exactly a book club, but with study group. It was a study, like, so everybody read, everybody, no, there was no teacher who knew it all in that. So we would highly encourage any of y'all. I think somebody in one of our projects self meeting also suggested that they wanted to start in Florida. Rajeshji, I don't remember who lives in Florida, but one of our members, executive committee members, lives there, right? Venkat, yeah. We highly encourage you all, if you all can form your own weekly satsangs, your own, just to discuss whatever you all want to do, this will start making sense a lot. In my Vedanta studies, we used to call it group discussions. So we had small group discussions that were encouraged amongst the students. And then we had a big group discussion like this on a Zoom, where we can take up the questions and take it from a higher perspective, answer those questions from the higher perspective. This really helps, this really helps.
Avanti I started this group here in Marlborough, New Jersey.
Fantastic.
We are meeting on Wednesdays, and same concept, like we meet there, we discuss about whatever, pick few verses from Gita, and we take turn to read them, and then we discuss, and we do some meditation, yoga, mixed with
Superb.
other. It's a support group with Gita chanting.
Super. That is exactly what we were saying to do.
To end it with a nice note, today it was funny, taking care of my grandkids. So she's 7 years old. She lost her tooth. She doesn't know where it fell in the house. She was running around. She was waiting to put it in a packet so she can have the tooth fairy. So I come from work, and she said, "Mama, look, I lost my tooth. I'm crying because I don't know what to do. This is a sad day. I have so many things I lost. Sometimes I'm very happy, but once in a while I get bad news." So cute. She was asking, why do we get bad news? I didn't know what to tell her. So I told her it's like the, taraju, right? The weight. I said, sometimes you have to get good news and bad news. That's how it. And she said, I hope Tooth Fairy remembers me, and she will give me something surprise. So I hid, of course. I put in $2 for her to the bed, and she said, "Ma, she heard me." Cute to see that. Something you learn from the kids too. Yeah. Thank you. You're making me a better human. That's all I can say.
You're
Thank
making yourself a better human being. That is the
You're the
because of the
instrument.
commitment.
How about that? You're the instrument. You both
Because
are
of the commitment.
Agree.
Instruments can be many, but if the commitment from the seeker is not there, it doesn't.
So we can close with this.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.